Good after morning, folks. Mike Wells, your world explorer. Today we're going to do some rock hounding. Now we're out here in Fellsmere, right on Fellsmere Grade Road. This is the row team buildings. If you see that porta potty and that little pavilion, that's basically where the rock hounding and shell hounding can begin. Now, first things first, I wanted to take a look over in this area because I know that this area has newly dumped material that has probably mostly been unsearched. And every time it rains, it clears out more sediment and enables for you to see more calcite crystals. Now these are a honey, amber, golden calcite that you would find out here in this particular location. You might even find some shells that are like geodes. So let's go ahead and do this. We'll go take a look down here and see what we can see. Now what I'm looking for are things like that right there. Now this looks like it could be something. And I think it is. We would have to take this and rinse it off. So that's what we'll do. I'm gonna put it in my pocket. Let's take a look around. I know you see all this dirt down here and all these little rocks. In between all that, as it rains more and more, we haven't had like really strong flood-like rains that would really wash this out quickly. But we've had pretty good strong rains this year so far. So let's take a look down here. This is what I'm talking about. You might find stuff like this. Now that I don't think has any calcite, but that little spot right there does. Also, there's Florida chert can be found out here. Florida chert is pretty interesting stuff because it's basically like this coquina, but it's crystallized. Look at that right there. That's a little calcite crystal. Let's look over here. I'm not sure what that is. Probably just a shell fossil. Notice something right there. That is called an olive shell, and it has some calcite on the outside. Not amazing looking crystals, but it has some. But those are cool. Let's look around over here. Here's a clam. This is a Mercenaria permagna clam. It looks like just a half, but it has some calcite replacement going on. That's a cool little thing to show you. Now, if we take a good look up, right, and then we look down here, you can see something right there. I think it's in the middle of the camera's view. I'm not sure. Well, let's go ahead and zoom in. There it is. You see it right there, right behind that leaf? That's what we're gonna go ahead and show you right now. This is calcite. All right. This is a good example as to what we're looking for. The golden calcite crystals. They will be out here in this coquina material, so I'm going to leave that one behind for others. What else can we find? I wanted to show you too that the layer that you want to look for on the rock is this. Here, I'll show you. All right, so when you're out here observing these big boulders, right, there's this gnarly looking top layer of like mudstone. It's obvious. You can clearly see this is different than all this. Well, underneath of that usually is where the calcite layer starts. That's a little bit of a more tan layer where there was more iron in the matrix stones at the time of the creation of the calcite. That right there. So as we look around, we can see layers of clams, which I want to get up close to so you can see what's going on here. This is interesting stuff. If you're into fossils, maybe this is something you would be willing to get a chunk of. I'm not sure. Pretty cool, huh? Here's a clam right here. That's what I'm seeing. Or a little chunk anyway. Cool. And then if you look down here, I mean, look at this. All this is opportunity. Let's go right there. There's some of that layer I was telling you about, but underneath of it, look, I see an olive shell right there. Oh man, right there is an olive shell. That is freaking cool, because it's been hollowed out and then replaced like a geode with calcite. Here's another spot right there. It's got some calcite going on. Just a lot of different opportunities in here. Now this is over here, this is a different type of rock. This is like fossil stone here. It has a little bit of calcite, but it's mostly limestone right there. Look at this over here. Look at that one. Wow. That's a little bit better of a specimen. There's some others over here. Look at that calcite right there. This is milky calcite. But you can see the crystal form there. So yeah, there's a lot of that going on out here. I haven't seen any of the chert. Oh wait, if I roll my camera up this way, I think I can see some chert right down in there. So let's go to it. All right, now that we are there, I cleared out some of the weeds, but this is Florida chert, folks. Look at this. This stuff is very nice in my opinion. Throughout the chert, you'll find it's almost like a blue agate. There's a little vein right there, you can see. But you'll see the fossilized, what are they called? Mollusks and clams and stuff throughout this chert. This is really interesting stuff. It's crystalline to a degree, but this is what is known as Florida chert. Look at this one right here, right in there. If this were able to be busted up, you would see a lot more going on. Look at this one over here. This one over here is a really, really good example of some Florida chert. Look at how that looks. I mean, that is really good. Try to get a clear shot for you. But look at that, huh? Let me pull some of these weeds out so we can get a good shot. You see that blue vein down there? That is what I'm talking about. So there's like vugs of agate. It's basically agatized coquina. And you see how it can be napped. You see the way that looks? That should tell you right there that it can be napped really well into things that, like arrowheads and stuff. But this is that Florida chert. Really good stuff. Hopefully we can find some stones that are out in the open that are easier to spot, that don't have all these weeds surrounding them. I think I see some over there already. So we'll just look around and see what we can spot. I'll show you some of these. They're Whelk geodes, and they exist in that gnarly top layer I was telling you about. But look at this. You can see this Whelk right here. That's a void. Inside that void there will be crystals. Most of the time there are crystals. Some of the time there are no crystals, but let's take a look and peer down in there. Can you see some crystals? I think I see some right there in the flute. See if we can move over and peer in there. But yeah, if you were able to dig that out, that's a Whelk geode. And here's what some of those crystals look like. That's the inside of a Whelk geode that has actually been busted off already. But there's some calcite right there. It's more milky than anything. Let's see if we can find more stuff like that. Ooh, here's a huge Florida chert stone. Wow. Look at this. Look, it's got some of that botryoidal effect right there. So that's like the agatization that goes on. That is some really fancy looking stuff right there. This is beautiful. This rock is huge. That's the thing. No way you're going to be able to tote anything like this out. But you see all the little shell fossils and how they've hardened with silicates. Look at that. Look at that. That's that Florida chert, folks. It's actually pretty nice in my opinion. And you will find some really amazing Florida chert if you look. Okay, so let's go over to the fossils and the calcite again. Here's a fossilized whelk. It probably had some nice calcite at one point, but the head of it is gone. There's another example, but they're located right up in that layer, that top stone that I was telling you about. Let's go down here. I'll show you more. There's a fossilized whelk right here that had some calcite in it. It's a good view of one. You'll also see really old oysters like that. And then here's another example right here of a whelk remnant. So yeah, there's a lot to see, folks. If you're trying to feast your eyes on some stuff you've never seen before, these are the rocks to do it with. Look at this. Look at this clam. That one's not bad, huh? Look at the calcite, how it was trying to grow on there. Really interesting. All right, I found another Florida chert stone. This thing, let's move back. Look at this one. Look at all the goodness inside of it. Florida chert, folks. There's a lot of this. I mean, a lot. Look at that, huh? Very nice. The quality in some locations, like this top edge right here, the quality is higher. You can tell. Because of the density, it increases. Okay, so here's some more calcite from clams. Look at that, huh? Here's some more down here. Where are we at? Or up there. Right there. Right there. Here's a little calcite clam right here. You see that? Where are we? There it is. Look at that little calcite clam right there. That's so cool. You could probably pluck that out of there if you want. Oh yeah, look over here. There's that. There's another little one right there. Oh my gosh. That is so cool. Yeah, the calcite is here. It's not huge dogtooth calcite, but it's cool stuff. All right, I don't want to spend too much more time over here, so we can just browse over and try to find some Whelk geodes to show you, like this right here. Go right over top. That one doesn't seem to have a whole lot going on in the way of calcite, but there is druzy calcite in there. This one over here looks pretty dang good as far as the calcite structure goes. See that? Not bad, huh? Yeah, and then the rest of these rocks will reveal to you more. Here's a good example of a pretty whole specimen, if you will. Let me see if I could get in on that. Not much in the way of crystals going on there, but if you found one like that and cut it open, there's a good chance it would have crystals. What else can we spot out here? I think I see a huge Whelk remnant right here. Look at that, huh? That thing is massive. That's awesome, but look next to it. What is this? That's either a Whelk right there or a moon shell. That is pretty. But you will find this stuff out here if you just look around. Oh yeah, look at this chert. Holy smokes, that's a massive boulder right in front of me. This has a lot of faces that were broken. So let's take a look. Not bad, eh? Let me see if I could find some of that. Those blue veins of agate. Not seeing much in the way of blue veins here. But it is a nice big specimen. We'll see if we can find a blue vein. I mean, they're out here. So I'm just gonna walk this way slowly, see what we can see. Try to spot some crystals. Wow, there's a lot going on here, folks. Let's go ahead and go over. I want to see a fossil, because I really want to show you guys the fossils that exist out here. There are these black fossil bones, mostly just tilly bones from a fish. Oh, you know what? I think we found one. Holy smokes, that's crazy. Let me get over there. Wait a minute. Here's some calcite here. Nothing too fancy. Just a little bit though. Let's look up over here. Let's go to that bone. Look at that. That's a bone, folks. That might be the chili bone that I was talking about. Really cool, huh? Oh, there's some calcite right there. And look, there's a clam right there. There's a lot to see over here, just from these rocks. Wow. I think I see some good whelks. So let me go down to them. You see what I'm talking about in the distance over there? Right up there in the middle of the camera. Let's go to them. All right. Okay, I'm gonna pitch the camera down. Not much in the way of calcite there, but let's look down here. There was a little vug right there. Some cool calcite. That's pretty nice. Yeah, you'll find these. You'll find whole ones out here that haven't been busted or anything. They pop out of this material because this material is largely unsearched. Ooh. Ooh. That is cool looking. See what I'm talking about there? Let's go up to that one. Oh man, look at those crystals. Look at those calcite crystals. Wow. Look at this whelk. It has some calcite in it. Here's some more calcite opportunity right there from a clam. And here's another whelk that had calcite in it. I mean, there's just calcite everywhere. Look up here. There's some more calcite. Boom. I mean, it's all over in these rocks. There's more whelks over here. Right there. See that? They're not looking too fancy or anything, but they're just neat. They're just, you'll find good ones if you look and you move some of these stones around, these little rocks and stuff in between everything, because that's what ends up being the whelks. Is you'll move a rock and then you'll grab something that is a whelk that you thought was just a rock. Look at this. Look at that right there, huh? Let me see if I can get a good zoom on that. That's not bad. There's a nice vug over here. Look. I gotta focus in on this. Sorry. Camera is not cooperating. Look at that. Wow. Not bad, eh? Yeah, this calcite is all over the place. Now I want to find some good chert. We've seen a lot of whelks and calcite and clams. Even found what appears to be a tillybone. Now, let's find some really high quality chert. But wait, these are nice crystals. Look at those calcite crystals. Wow. What a treat. And there's some more over here. Not terribly large, but still it's more like a druzy almost. They are the dogtooth calcite, okay? They're just not big. Let's look up here. What can I see? Oh, lots of calcite over there in that rock. Let's just go up to it. Ready? Let's go look. See, there's a bunch of little pieces that kind of, you know, work their way out. See those little pieces of calcite? They're everywhere. Look at this. Look at that one. Holy smokes, that's cool. Look at this. Boom. Shell fossils everywhere. Calcite there. Another whelk. Calcite there. It's just everywhere. And the harder it rains, the more calcite that gets revealed. Oh, wait a minute. This is a great example of a whelk geode. Let's zoom in. Wow, can you see that? Let me see if I can work some magic here. Yeah, you can see that. That's great. Nice crystals in there. So you see the opportunities. Now, if we could just find that blue chert with the blue agate. Some of this looks okay. It has that tinge, that interesting tinge, the bluish tinge. All right, let's find that chert. Hopefully we can find some really good blue looking chert just for show and tell. I see more and more calcite rocks. You do have to be careful out here where you're stepping, because you could get a foot, you know, rolled, or your ankle hurt or something. It's not the easiest place to be traveling through. Okay, I think I think I found something. Let's look. Maybe not. I see some fossil scallops, but that's about it. Not the chert I was looking for. Is this chert? Let's look. I mean, it is, but it's a lesser form of it. You can tell by how it breaks. It's conchoidal when it breaks. So let's move up here, see what we can find, what we can locate. You know what? That is probably a whelk shell right there as just a rock. Now, if you were to cut into that, I'm not sure there would be a calcite vug, but I'm saying that the opportunities are here. Look, that could be one too. You just never know. Look at that clam. That's cool looking. It's got some calcite in that underside top. Okay, it's very hot out here. We're in late August in the middle of Florida, and it can get brutally hot. The humidity is up. Look at that. Wow, that's some decent calcite right there. See that? Amazing. Okay, chert, where are you? I'm gonna have to go to my car and drink some water here any minute, because boy, I'm sweating. Okay, I am not seeing this chert. There are other locations where you can find this chert. This just so happens to be one of them. Ooh, more crystals. Look at these crystals. See that? Not bad, eh? Beautiful calcite crystals. Right there. All right, chert, come out. We're gonna go ahead and just keep moving. There might be some chert over here, I'm not sure. But this will be my last attempt to find it. Oh, I think I found it. Okay, so there's some big chert stones down here. That one maybe not. This one definitely. Look at the form on them. See how they look? Those will polish up very nicely. Very nicely. If you're not into this color, well, then you might not want this, but I just think this stuff is so cool. Sometimes when you're cutting into it, the blue will reveal itself. All right, let's go to a different spot right across over there where we're actually going to do some shell hounding and rock hounding at the same time. All right, folks, we went up just a little ways. There's the row building, and now we're going to hound this area. So as you can see, there's a lot of grass here. It wasn't always this way. Used to be not much grass at all, but what we're looking for are rocks and shells. So you'll see a lot of that rocky material is down here. See, that's a little bit of a calcite clam right there, but it's the milky stuff. So if you see all these rocks, you'll see some coquina right there. You'll see more clamage right there. We can look through here to try to find something interesting. Now, because the grass is so prolific through here, it holds all of this sediment together very well now. So the opportunity to find calcite is being minimized by this, but you will find it. This is calcite right here. That's what that is. Let's look up here. There's a shell right there. That's a clam, I believe. I mean, they're here. You'll find some stuff. You just got to really keep your eyes peeled. See, there's a clam remnant right there. And there's some big rock in there. There's a little, here, if I pull back, let's see here. There's a little piece of calcite right down in there. You'll find bigger stuff if you look hard enough and long enough. Now, years ago when they took, all of this used to be a levee. So it was a big mound. But they came through here and pulled a bunch of that material about 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And when they did, it might have been a little more than that, 8, 9 years ago. When they did that, all of this was exposed material. So you could find a ton of stuff. It was insane. You could find museum quality specimens, all kinds of stuff. And I did. I found some good stuff. Really good stuff. But that really good stuff is still here. You just would have to, work to find it. There's this. That's just a shell remnant. What I really want to do right now is go over there. So that's what we'll do. We're going to go to that little levee that was left behind. I also have found massive whelks out here. Now, if you look for them, you can find them. But yeah, all that material exists here. If I could come out here and dig, like actually dig, you see, now we're on the levee. I didn't realize that they had produced a dirt road here, but apparently so. Now they use that as a service road. Let's look around here. Wow. So what they did, wow, they really took away the opportunity here. They planted all this grass here. So now the grass is keeping you from being able to get to the shells. That stinks. Whereas before it wasn't like that. You could just go down there and the shells were just jutting out of the side everywhere. So they've made it a little harder for you to enjoy this area, which is a real shame. Maybe we'll go ahead and go up, way up, try to see what we can spot up there. I want to check this levee. It's a lot smaller than it used to be. Yeah, so I'm going to travel up that way and try to find an exposed spot. I see something that way, so maybe we'll go look over there. All right, some of that rock exposure is here. So let's take a look and see what we can find. Look at that, huh? That's a whelk top right there. Crazy, huh? Doesn't have any calcite, but so be it. Wait a minute, what's this? This is a shell, a clam fragment that's milky calcite. Let's look down here. What can we spot? What can we spot, folks? You can find a lot of whelks in here too. Like this was a piece of a whelk right there. Usually you'll find knobbed whelks throughout here. There is a remnant there. Nothing too fancy. There's a little piece of calcite right here. See? So it's here. Huh. You know, the thing is, you would probably do really good if you could dig. But I don't think they allow that. That would be nice though, if they did. Some big rocks over here. Whew. Right up under the, right at the surface. Yeah, this used to be absolutely brimming with crystals everywhere. Over time though, see like this right here, that might be a whelk. And like a calcite filled whelk. Wow, so many stones. Wonder, I don't see any tilly bones sticking out anywhere. Look at that. That is a very large clam. Huge. That's how you know. Oh, look at that. There is an olive. Wow. This one's in really good condition. You would just have to clean it up a bit. Holy smokes. Look at that olive shell. That one is nice. I'm gonna leave it for somebody else. I have plenty of olive shells. I don't need any more. But yeah, this is the zone. Look, there's some calcite right there. It's not really fancy looking, but it's still there. Oh, I found a tilly bone. Look, it's little, but it's still there. That's cool. Let me pick it up. I'm going to show you. So this must be just simple fragment is what I'm thinking. This is what you look for, this black. And that's what you'll find. Fossils. Okay, that's cool. So we're in the space where we have found crystals in the past and tilly bones and all that fun stuff. Look, here's a great example. There's a whelk right in the stone still. Another tilly bone. What the? So we're in the stuff. So this is a tilly bone fragment. Yeah, this zone is pretty good. So far. Let's see, what else can we find out here? I'm just gonna walk slowly. Keep my eyes open. Yeah, there's an old, holy smokes, look at the size of that whelk. Look at the size of that whelk, folks. That is a whelk geode too. You can tell because look at the edge right there. That's calcite. Holy smokes. If I had more time today, I would dig that up. Dang, that's a pretty big whelk. Oh yeah, look at that. There's probably something going on with that right there. I'm not sure. I don't see any calcite, but wait a minute. Here's some calcite right here. Look at that beautiful clear calcite. Holy smokes. Yeah, so this is a spot that has a lot of calcite. Like I said, the real opportunity is under the soil, under the surface. Because the surface has probably been searched over many times already. That's all. I mean, I can't imagine it hasn't. I know when I used to come out here after it would rain heavily, there would be new stuff all over the place. What can we spot? I've never found a shark's tooth. I really would like to, though. That would be incredible. You can find them, but they're rare in these parts. There's a bunch of whelk activity right there. Huh. Wow, there's just so much rockiness right here. I think this would be your best opportunities right here. There's an old clam right there. Ooh, look at, I was gonna say, look at this wasp, but he took off. Wow, there are a lot of rocks in here. This will be the zone. If you're gonna find, this is it. You can see where all the tractors have been running over everything. Yeah, it can't hurt to like pull that out of the surface and look at it really good. This is where it would all be, folks. I'm gonna just search through this little area real quick with you to try to see if we can spot something amazing. And then I want to head down further and look for shells. What is that? What is that? That looks like a sand dollar remnant. Holy smokes, that's what that is. That is a part of a sand dollar, folks. And it is definitely fossilized. That's awesome. Look at this. A little bit more calcite right there. Huh? Yeah, a golden colored calcite. It's just a little piece, but still. I think there's a calcite shell here. I'm not sure, but it's a baby clam. Those are always cool to have. What's this? That's a piece of a whelk. Huh. Let's look at it. What's it got going on? Really tough to say, but I don't see any crystals associated with that particular shell. Ooh, there looks like a snail shell right in there. Little pretty snail. What else can we find? Let's keep our eyes peeled. Look at the size of that clam. You know, I really am tempted to dig it up. That thing is huge. What kind of shell is this? That's a pretty little shell. Man, I'm gonna go ahead and dig around this. I think this is probably part of a huge rock. Oh. Man, I need to get this thing out. Well, it's part of a bigger stone, so I think I have to leave it behind, but that would be really fun to get out. What's this? Okay, that's not calcite. It's just a rock that faked me out. What do you see here? Nothing? I'm not seeing any shells or... Oh, wait, look. That's a chunk of calcite that looks really good. Wow. Wow, this is a good one, folks. Dang. Not bad. And it's got a sister piece right here. See that? Oh, don't drop it. So it was attached right there. So that's cool. There's some calcite for sure. You just gotta get close to the soil to find it. What else can we spot, folks? I mean, I know there's a lot more out here. I can't cover it all. Here's a little chunk right there, I believe. Can you see that? Right behind that weed. Here's some more up here. A little bit on that shell. See? So it's here. What else can we spot? I really want to see a lot of shells. I'm surprised I haven't spotted any yet. I mean, we got that olive shell, but that was it. We found some clams, but those are in the rocks. Let's look here. What can we spot? Oh, there's some more calcite right there. I'm telling you, the rain is what brings these things out. All right, folks, I'm ready. We'll scour this area real quick. I'm ready to head up and see if we can find some shells. What's that? Huh. Look at that. There's some fossil. You know what those are? Those are fossil oysters. They're still in the rock, though. All right, we're gonna go ahead and head up that way. I was just walking and trying to like scour the surface really quick. And I think I'm into something good here. So I'm seeing all these clam shells, right? But then I see this. Boom. This is I think it's a half of a tilly bone. But it's a pretty decent sized one. I think this might be the other half. Yeah. Yeah, so this one goes together. Let me try to put it together. Huh. That's how that went. Look at that. So the two halves together makes one tilly bone. That's crazy. So I'm going to leave this out here for somebody else. There may be more. There has to be, because I'm telling you, if you just dug up under the surface just a few inches, oh my Lord, everything's going to be popping out. But yeah, this area looks like it might be good. I want to go where there are a ton of shells like this. Holy smokes. Look at this one. That might be a lightning whelk. Okay, so what I gotta do is, holy smokes, let's dig around it. These, if this is a lightning whelk, it will be rare for this area. Oh, wow, no. It's a knobbed whelk, but it's a big one. It's not bad. Look at the size of this knobbed whelk. Look at that. So the way you know is when you hold it upright, knob whelked, the ear moves to the right. The lightning whelk, the ear moves to the left. I am in love with the shell, but I want others to be able to experience this too. So I'm going to leave it. Look, there is another one right there. Man, holy smokes, folks. Come on, come on, come on. These are nice shells. Holy smokes. Oh. You see how it was under the surface like that? That's how you gotta spot that. You gotta see the roundness of it and know, oh yeah, that's probably a shell. Let me try to dig it up. Oh. Wow, another one. Wow. They are out here. You just gotta get them. Come and get them, folks. Oh, now my hand is all dirty. But yeah, I live for this. I love this. I would take those home, but I have enough. I don't need any more of these shells and stuff. But I still get excited to find them, let me tell you. Look at this. This area, because of the rain, it will keep giving. You'll find some olive shells like that. That one is obviously beat up. Half of it's missing. You'll find all these little shells everywhere. There's another olive shell right there. That's a good one. See? Look at that. Not bad. You'll find a bunch of little shells in here with unique characteristics. You'll find it all. You'll find some calcite. You know? So, don't be shy. The world has a lot to offer, and I think I just found something good. Holy smokes, what's that? Look at this. That's calcite, folks, and that's a good one. What I'm gonna do, wow, here's an olive shell, a calcite olive shell. It's got a little bit of calcite. Look at this calcite here. Look at that. That is calcite. So this conglomerate here has calcite all up in it. Let me see. It's a whole piece, man. It's a whole piece. So I'm I'm not even really able to move it. So if somebody came out here and wanted to dig that little chunk up, they could. It's not going to be me, and it's definitely not happening today. So have at it, folks. Look. Look. Oh my gosh. There are shells everywhere out here. Look at this. I wonder how big that is. I'm tempted to dig it, folks. I'm tempted to dig it. Should I? Oh, look, another olive shell. Oh, that one's got a little bit of a bust to it, but still, these are good finds. I'm just gonna do it. This one looks big. This one looks really, oh, it's got some breakage to it. Okay, so it was just, oh yeah, it was just a piece, but still, there's another one right over here. Oh my gosh, I'm in the zone. Look, there's another one there. You won't believe this. There's another one there. There's another one there. There's an olive shell there. This is a big one. Looks like it got crushed though. Yeah. We are in Shell City right now. This is what I was talking about. This is what I wanted to find. Holy smokes. Okay, so there's an olive shell there. There's an olive shell there. There's an olive shell there. Okay. Where, look at that. Another whelk. Incredible. So this whole area is just loaded with shells, folks. If you wanted to come out here and find, it wouldn't be very hard. Look at the size of that whelk. Holy smokes. Man, I really want to dig these up. I really want to. But I can't. I'm just gonna, I got other stuff I gotta do today, but somebody else can come out here and have a freaking heyday. Holy smokes, look at that, another one. How many is that? In less than 10 feet, that's like what? 10 per foot? Look at that, another one. An olive shell. Look at that olive shell. That one is in pretty dang good condition. That one might be worth coming out for. Oh, what's that? Is that a barnacle? Huh, I'm gonna pull that. What is this? Yeah, I think that's like a barnacle remnant or something. Crazy. There's a lot to see out here, folks. There's a lot to find. Anyhow, there you have it, folks. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That helps the channel grow. Holy smokes, another big whelk. And yeah, I'll be presenting to you a lot more videos of the cool stuff you can find throughout this area, but not just this area, other states, because I like to travel a little bit. Thanks and have a great day.